do join us again next week.
You're listening to the BBC World Service, and here's how you can help contribute to a future episode of the Forum.
Do you buy your groceries in a supermarket or from a traditional small shop or market stall? Are there other food shopping options where you live? I'm Izzy Lawrence. In my next Forum programme, I'll be exploring the story of supermarkets and would love to hear your thoughts on them.
Find out how you can be involved at bbcworldservice.com/forum. At bbcworldservice.com, The Inquiry.
I'm Charmaine Cozier. Massive mats of thick seaweed are washing up on beaches. The smelly gas it releases threatens the health of residents and economies. What's going on with sargassum seaweed?
The real story is next. This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
This is Sean Lay with The Real Story, one topic, 1 hour every week. And this week, 2024 is scheduled to be a year of elections, from Taiwan to Russia, India to the United States. More people are eligible to vote than ever before. But could this be the apogee of liberal democracy? Is the world losing its faith in elections and those who win them? In South Africa, which only embraced democracy 30 years ago, 72% of voters say they'd ditch it for an unelected leader who'd cut crime and create jobs. In the United States, partisanship is paralysing government in a system built on cooperation and compromise. One survey found the percentage of voters who viewed the other side as a threat to US values had reached 80%. As global experts cite increasing signs of dissatisfaction with the way many countries check and control power, is the world losing faith in democracy? That's the real story from the BBC coming up after the news.
Hello, I'm Roisin Hastie with the BBC News. Residents of 3 small South Korean islands have been ordered to move into shelters after the North fired more than 200 artillery shells into the sea nearby. Yunagu is in Seoul.
The Yeonpyeong Island and Baekmyeong Island is located in the west side of the sea, the West Sea, and residents from these islands have been often the victim of this kind of provocation by North Korea. This time, the shells hit the northern part of the NLL, the Northern Limit Line, which means this is more like a provocation rather than an invasion.
In response, South Korean Marines are conducting live fire drills on one of the islands. South Korea's defense ministry has called for an end to all weapons transactions between North Korea and Russia after Washington accused Pyongyang of supplying Moscow with ballistic missiles and launchers for its war in Ukraine. Seoul said such deals were a violation of US sanctions. Both Moscow and Pyongyang have denied conducting any arms deals but vowed last year to deepen military relations. South African former Paralympic champion Oscar Pistorius has been released from prison on parole after serving 8.5 years for the murder of his girlfriend. The double amputee sprinter shot Ruva Steenkamp multiple times at his home in a case that drew global attention in 2013. He claimed he mistook her for a burglar. From Pretoria, here's Daniel Desimini.
He's actually now at home and he's going to have to be at a home address as part of his parole conditions. It's widely thought that the home address he's at is his uncle's home, which isn't far away from where I am now in Pretoria. It's about 25 minutes drive from the prison. And some of the other conditions will include not drinking, not taking drugs, attending mandatory sessions relating to violence against women and girls, anger management, and also significantly, given his fame, he's not going to be allowed to do media interviews, and he's going to be under conditions until 2029, so it's going to be over 5 years.
UN aid agencies have said that multiple factors, including security risks, damaged roads and delays at checkpoints, continue to impede their ability to deliver aid in Gaza. The agencies were responding to criticism from Israel that they've been stalling on aid deliveries. Imogen Folks reports from Geneva.
Last night, the UN reported it had been unable to deliver vital food and medicines to northern Gaza for 4 days because it had been denied access and because of active conflict. The UN statement reflects growing aid agency frustration at what many see as a perhaps willful misinterpretation by Israel of the risks and logistics of delivering aid inside a conflict zone.
BBC News. Chinese regulators say Tesla is recalling more than 1.6 million vehicles to fix issues with steering software and door locking systems. They say the recall will involve remote upgrades to software. It's the second mass recall of Tesla models in China in a year. Funerals are taking place in Iran for the victims of Wednesday's twin bombings that killed at least 84 people in the city of Kerman. Sebastian Usher reports.
Mourners shouted for revenge at the religious centre in Kerman, where rows of coffins lay wrapped in the Iranian flag. It's a call that's been echoed by Iran's leaders. In a televised speech, President Raisi, who's visiting Kerman, said that Iran's forces would decide on the time and the place to take action. The Islamic State group has said that 2 of its members carried out the bombings, which hit a memorial event for General Qasem Soleimani 4 years after he was killed by a US drone strike. The jihadist group has carried out several such attacks in Iran before, but the Iranian authorities, for now at least, are saying that they have yet to reach their own conclusion on who is responsible.
The Indian Navy says it's responding to an apparent hijacking of a cargo ship in the Arabian Sea, the latest such attack in the region. The authorities say a bulk carrier with 15 Indian crew on board had sent a message that it had been boarded by 5 or 6 armed men. It's not clear who the attackers were and whether they gained control. India says a warship is on its way to offer assistance to them. President Macron of France is presiding over a national ceremony in honour of the former president of the European Commission, Jacques Delors, who died last week, aged 98. EU leaders, including Eurosceptics such as Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban, will take part in the tributes to a man seen as the architect of the modern bloc. Jacques Delors also played a key role in French political life. BBC News.
This is The Real Story from the BBC. I'm Sean Lay with your weekly deep dive into a story that's making news and changing lives. And this week, is the world losing faith in democracy? 2024 will be the world's biggest election year ever. From the United States to the UK, Taiwan to India, South Africa to Mexico. It's estimated countries representing nearly half the world's population will head to the polls in some form of election this year. But how much do people around the world still believe in democracy?
For the first time in 2 decades, there are now more closed autocracies in the world than there are liberal democracies. The Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, has proudly proclaimed his country as an illiberal democracy.
If people have become disillusioned, what alternatives appeal? In South Africa, this year's election will be a defining one. 30 years since a post-apartheid electorate voted in Nelson Mandela. Democracy in the nation is struggling.
In many ways, the ANC started incredibly ambitiously and impressively trying to undo that. The problem is that they've been in power for nearly 30 years. And what party can survive that without rotting?
Meanwhile, India is likely to vote in Narendra Modi for a 3rd term as Prime Minister. But there are concerns by some that the world's largest democracy is slipping into autocracy.
People are dying on the ground, but I don't see it translating into electoral numbers for the opposition. So many died because of demonetization in India. People still voted for him.
In some of the oldest democracies too, its clear dissatisfaction with the way the system has operated is growing. In the US, former President Donald Trump refused to accept the 2020 election result.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
2/3 of Republicans believe what Mr. Trump said about the last election, that he, not Joe Biden, won. President Biden says democracy is threatened not just abroad, but at home too.
Equality and democracy are under assault. We do ourselves no favor to pretend otherwise. So tonight, I've come to this place where it all began to speak as plainly as I can to the nation about the threats we face, about the power we have in our own hands.
So is the world losing faith in democracy? Why have some people become so dissatisfied with the system? What do young voters think? And what alternatives might there be? As we enter a record-breaking year for elections, is democracy itself on the line? We're going to be discussing what makes a country a democracy and examining the challenges it faces, especially in three significant countries due to hold elections this year. Joining me at the Real Story panel for this edition, Zianda Sturman is Senior Analyst for Africa at the Eurasia Group think tank. She's in Cape Town in South Africa and joins us now. Zianda, welcome. What do you think is the single biggest threat to democracy worldwide today?
I think that there's still a threat, and a very real one, presented by the proliferation of social media, misinformation, disinformation, and really even a lack of media literacy from many social media users, but different sort of groups and populations all over the world. We know that election campaign seasons can get very heated. They're incredibly emotive, and the world in many ways has never been more polarized than before. I think that for me, a real worry around what will happen in not just, the large elections like South Africa, like the US, but in multiple elections all over the world, the really sort of damaging, eroding effect of misinformation and disinformation that's weaponized by political actors.
Thank you. Debashish Roy Chowdhury is a journalist and co-author of the book To Kill a Democracy, India's Passage to Despotism. He joins us now from Calcutta. Same question to you. What's the biggest challenge, do you think, today?
I fully agree that the biggest threat to democracy is misinformation, but it's not just through the social media, but in particular, I would say the mainstream news media. When the mainstream news media is tamed and turned into an echo chamber of the rulers, elections become pointless. This is because voters evaluate a government on the basis of the information they receive about the government's performance. Now, if that information is doctored, it distorts democratic accountability and corrupts the entire democratic system. If you can manage to hack the media, you can hack democracy, and this you see happening in many countries, including India and Hungary.
Liliana Mason is Associate Professor of Political Science at Johns Hopkins University and author of Uncivil Agreement, How Politics Became Our Identity. She joins us from Washington, D.C. in the United States. Liliana, welcome. What to you is the biggest threat?
Thank you so much for having me. In my mind, it's, in addition to media concerns, of course, the rise of political leaders and entire political parties across the globe that are really focused on an anti-pluralistic message and that are appealing to their voters by encouraging them to feel aggrieved on the basis of social comparison. And mostly, actually, that they are asking the kind of traditionally dominant groups in their societies to feel like they actually are powerless and they are victims. And that allows a lack of tolerance, it allows an increase in violence across society, and it reduces the ability of a democracy to fully represent the full scope of the citizenry of a country.
Thank you all very much. Look forward to hearing more from you in just a moment. Now, democracy is a concept first developed in ancient Greece. Demos is people, kratos is rule, so it's the rule of the people. But Greek city-states were small, cohesive, and gathering opinion relatively easy. So how did we get from there to here, where democratic nations can have millions of citizens? Professor Stephen Levitsky from Harvard University in the United States is the author of How Democracies Die. His starting point is thousands of years later, in the 19th century.
Democracy at its core means rule by the people. But in the modern era, I would say, since the late 19th century in the West, it has meant liberal representative democracy, meaning that governments are elected by and responsive to the people. And majority rule, which is the core of democracy, is tempered by civil liberties that have to be protected from majority. So a modern democracy is one in which all adult citizens can vote. Elections are free and fair. We elect our governments freely and fairly. And citizens enjoy all of the individual liberties necessary to inform themselves about the government, to criticize the government, to challenge the government. From this metric of liberal representative democracy, countries have over time become much more successful. The number of even nominally democratic states in the world in the 19th century was very small. It was confined to Western Europe and with an asterisk, the United States, the asterisk being the U.S. South and the denial of suffrage to African Americans. Until World War II, you only had a couple of dozen democracies in the world. And it stayed relatively low until the so-called third wave, the 1970s, at which point the number of democracies in the world exploded. You had Southern Europe, you had South America, you had Eastern Europe, and also a handful of countries in East Asia that became full democracies, not just hybrid regimes. Taiwan, South Africa, Spain, Portugal, the vast bulk of the Baltic states, much of Central Europe, South America, Argentina, Chile, Brazil. These are real democracies and have been so for the last 30 years. But that is a late 20th century phenomenon.
Well, as Professor Levitsky observed, elections are one of the essentials, but not on their own sufficient to make a country a democracy. Liliana Mason, what else do we need?
So one important element of democracy is the idea of pluralism, so that we have multiple diverse groups of people in a country, we have a constantly changing population, and that every single group within that democracy enjoys equal protection under the law. And so as democracies grow and change, which I think a lot of countries' populations are currently doing due to immigration, due to changing laws of representation, we need to make sure that the groups that have been traditionally in power are willing and able to share that power with traditionally less dominant groups.
Right, just to pick up the point then, compared to the old Greek city-states of the ancient world, where basically foreigners were excluded, they weren't part of this. If you were a foreigner living in the city, you had no rights, you had no voice, nothing. Your argument is that this is an area now of tension once again.
It's always been an area of tension, but currently what we're seeing is that we have entire political parties that are focused on undermining that effective pluralism that's happening in a country.
So in other words, to pick up on that point, Debashish Roy Chowdhury in Calcutta, the idea that sort of if you win an election, then you can kind of do whatever you like, and more importantly, you can do whatever you like to the losing side.
Yeah, I would say that democracy, by its very nature, because it's a numbers game, in a democracy, the interest of the majority is always protected anyway, because the way democracy is structured. So the real test of a democracy is how it treats its minorities. And this is where you actually find proof of concept of democracy in that the rulers are ready to share power with, as she said, not such dominant groups. And this is where a lot of democracies are failing right now, including India, obviously.
Zianda Sturman in Cape Town. What about another element that we often hear mentioned, the role of the courts, the judiciary? Would you regard that as a kind of an essential element of a liberal democracy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's a crucial and cornerstone aspect of a democratic system. And I think it goes hand in hand with the concept of accountability. If you don't have accountability mechanisms, then that really starts to erode the point of elections, really, or the point of a democratic sort of representative body. So the court system is incredibly important in that sense. So too are, a functional space for civil society to again challenge power where necessary, but also to hold power to account, for abuses or overreach or other such transgressions.
Now, about 2 billion people, that's half the adult population of the globe, will have the chance to vote in 2024, far more in 1 year than ever before. Countries as diverse as Russia and the UK, Mexico and the US, Taiwan and India are all scheduled to hold elections within the next 12 months. It's been described as the biggest year yet for democracy. Yet not all of those elections will involve the exchange of ideas between competing candidates, freely reported by a media free of government interference, the integrity of the outcome guaranteed by an independent judiciary. I wonder if any of you have a particular view on this. How much do you think the practice of what we call democracy varies around the world?
Obviously, we all have different electoral systems. In some countries, we have mandatory voting. In some countries, we have voluntary voting. But ultimately, citizens are motivated across different countries by their leaders. And so the priorities of a person in the voting booth are really able to be manipulated by leadership and by political parties. And so we can go into a voting booth thinking about our economic well-being, or we can go into a voting booth thinking about the people that we hate. And it's up to our leaders to determine which thought is prominent in our minds at that moment.
And in practical terms, I mean, take, for example, Zianda, a continent as large as Africa. How much variability is there in democracy on your continent?
There will be 18 elections across the African continent over the next year. There are systems in which there very clearly isn't the practice of democracy in terms of open and free and fair elections. In countries such as Rwanda, you have several countries in West Africa next year that will go into elections, some being decided by military juntas or groups that have taken control forcefully of the political system, including Mali, Burkina Faso, and others. Whereas in the very same region, in Senegal and in Ghana, we're seeing much more lively, robust elections. There really is no, I think, sort of perfect template, even on the African continent, where the idea or the practice of democracy looks exactly the same or doesn't have some level of its own flaws. And I do think that, as you said, that the continent itself is a really interesting model for this idea of whether or not this year of many, many elections is in fact the year of the test of democracy.
Debashish Roy Chowdhury, what about in South Asia? Because there's quite a contrast, isn't there, between Pakistan, Bangladesh and India, for example?
Yeah, when we're talking about variations in democracy, we also have to bear in mind the variation in institutional resilience in different countries. So, for example, people would talk about Modi, Trump, and Bolsonaro or Erdogan in the same vein.
So just to interrupt, these are the current leaders of India, former leader of the United States. You said Bolsonaro is former leader of Brazil and President Erdogan in Turkey. Yeah.
Right. People would often call all of them populists. But the fact is that each of them found different sets of institutions, the same set of institutions, but with different levels of resilience. So the way Modi has been able to curb the institutions, Trump could not. So that's a very important distinction which we have to bear in mind. Just take, for example, the way media has caved in India. You haven't seen that in the US or in Brazil.
Yeah. Let's move on to the question of whether there are also indications of people losing faith in the system. There are some in individual countries. Take, for example, South Africa, a country we'll discuss in more detail in the second half of this real story. According to Afrobarometer, 70% say they're dissatisfied with the way democracy works. 72% say they ditch democracy for an unelected leader if that leader could cut crime and deliver jobs. Ben Ansell, Professor of Comparative Democratic Institutions at Nuffield College, Oxford University, here in the UK, delivered this year's BBC Wreath Lectures on the subject of democracy's future. He says it's not just in places which rank poorly on surveys of democratic values, but also in established democracies like the United States and the European Union that it's under threat.
We make our own choices, we rule ourselves, but we're polarized and discontent. And this is new. So had I given these lectures 25 years ago, I would have been surfing on the crest of a democratic wave which rolled on, unstoppable, until it stopped. Because a democratic flood in the 1990s with the fall of the Berlin Wall became a drought in the early 21st century. According to the VDEM Institute, the average level of global democracy today has receded all the way back to its level in 1986. For the first time in 2 decades, there are now more closed autocracies in the world than there are liberal democracies. And increasingly, the liberal part of liberal democracy is under attack. The Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orbán, has proudly proclaimed his country as an illiberal democracy. And in the world's largest democracy, India, even though the formal rules of democracy remain stable, and they do, civil liberties have been undermined. In 2022, the Indian government shut down the internet 84 separate times, often before or during protests, and broadcasters are regularly raided, including BBC. The process of free and fair elections, democracy's very core, is also at risk. In Turkey and Venezuela, opposition leaders have been jailed. In Brazil and in the United States, defeated leaders have tried to delegitimize elections by falsely claiming fraud. And outside the democratic club, authoritarian countries from Russia to China have portrayed themselves as strong-willed, strong-handed models to follow. So our democratic future is under threat from within and without.
That's Professor Ben Ansell. I wanted to start with Zianda Sturman in Cape Town. What do you make of that analysis? What do you make of this It's quite a dramatic claim that there are now more closed autocracies than open democracies.
Yeah, I think it's a really striking one. We've sort of reached this point where we're seeing a polarization of these many sort of forms, again, as we were talking about earlier, forms of practice of democracies, forms of different states. And so you have many closed autocracies, you have much more open systems, and not very much in between. And I'm not saying in between and as if it's necessarily a positive, but they're more, I think, extreme and polarized types of states that are out there. And in and of itself, that's I think a marker of people's frustrations with the idea of democracy, whether it's not being able to deliver economic or materialist value, to frustrations with having a democracy, but one where one party or one leader has been in power for multiple years, even as there are multiple elections, but no transfer of power takes place. I would agree with the framing broadly, and I think it's because there is this polarization as opposed to necessarily a march towards authoritarianism.
That's a very interesting point. Perhaps you can pick that up, Liliana Mason, because one of the areas where there's a lot of debate in the United States is the sort of worry about what young voters might do, whether these less directly democratic messages are now starting to appeal to a younger generation.
I think the overwhelming sense of young voters, an 18-year-old doesn't remember very well anything before Donald Trump's first presidency. And so a lot of them are observing people in charge who are being extremely ineffective and not addressing the problems that they think are the most important. These people have been entirely socialized within an environment in which they are disappointed in their leaders. I believe that they still support democracy, but they don't believe that it's capable of working at this point.
I would like to make a point here. I hear this a lot about people losing faith in democracy, but I would put it a bit differently. There are two parallel processes happening here simultaneously. First, yes, many people are losing faith in democracy when they see democratic institutions being emasculated by politicians and civil liberties being curbed. But there is a parallel phenomenon which we cannot deny. Just as a lot of people are losing faith in democracy, a lot of people have simply begun to see democracy very differently. I will give you an example. Ordinarily, democracy is about separation of powers so that no one person can become all-powerful. The executive is vested with the power to govern, but there are countervailing institutions like the judiciary, the party system, etc., or that ensure that this power of the executive is not misused. But a lot of people have come to see these constraints on the executive as a hindrance to governance, and they look to a country like China or Vietnam, and they ask why an all-powerful executive is a bad thing. I mean, it's clearly working for them. A minister in Modi's government a few years ago said that India's problem is that it has too much democracy. So if you keep your ear to the ground, it's a sentiment you will hear again and again, and often from people who you would expect to know better.
And so when Ben Ansel quotes Viktor Orban as talking about an illiberal democracy, Liliana Mason, do you think Mr. Orban is in a sense capturing that spirit?
Yeah, and these are the common approaches of sort of anti-democratic leaders, that they ultimately want to foster a sense of despair and cynicism in their citizenry in order to gain power themselves. And one proven way to do that is to separate your electorate against each other so that they're focused on fighting each other rather than holding you accountable. And I think we're seeing the rise of a lot of leaders like that across the globe.
And Zianda Sturman.
The concept of illiberal democracies is also one that flourishes, or at least in some countries on the African continent, particularly where these illiberal sort of leaders who, have these democratic systems that either keep electing them or that they're able to manipulate simply because they deliver economic stability, economic prosperity, or at least job security. And that's the case in Rwanda, for example, and similarly the case in Ethiopia. The idea of illiberal democracies can also rise out of the fact that they're meeting some level of satisfaction for citizens purely on economic need or an economic basis. And that's the type of thing that leaders then point to say, you don't need democracy if you're economically secure.
Well, we'll pause our discussion whilst we take a short break. But when we come back, we'll take a look at the challenge to democracy in 3 countries which are holding elections this year: South Africa, India, and the United States, with our Real Story panel. Zianda Sturman, Senior Analyst for Africa at the Eurasia Group think tank. Debashish Roy Chowdhury, journalist and co-author of the book To Kill a Democracy, India's Passage to Despotism, and Liliana Mason in Washington, who is Associate Professor of Political Science at Johns Hopkins University, will pick up this again after the news when The Real Story returns.
This is the BBC World Service, where Adriana Brownlee is asking, can mountaineering survive in an age of rapidly warming mountains?
In 2022, I became the youngest woman to have climbed both K2 and Mount Everest. And when you are literally on top of the world, you look around and you think the mountains will be that way forever.
You see this huge V shape that's like a kilometre across.
That would have all been filled with ice when I was here for the first time.
The melting snow and ice is making one of the deadliest sports even more dangerous.
There's like a huge boulder, like a truck. Rock! We're all shouting rock, rock.
We have larger rockfall occurring as permafrost is warming very deep inside the mountain.
I'll take you thousands of meters up into the clouds to explore the impact of climate change on mountaineering.
The Approach, Tuesday at 9:30 and 20 GMT. Or listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up on The Real Story in the next half hour, more people have the opportunity to vote in 2024 than ever before. But are we losing faith in elections? In South Africa's first full election in 1994, almost 90% of people voted. Now more than 70% say they'd give up that right if an unelected leader could cut crime and generate jobs. With evidence across the globe of dissatisfaction with what elected leaders have done, are we losing faith in democracy?
With the BBC News, I'm Roisin Hasty. South Korea is responding to North Korean shelling of its waters with live fire drills and naval exercises. Residents of two small islands were ordered to shelters after Pyongyang fired more than 200 shells off their coasts. The South African former Paralympic champion Oscar Pistorius has been released on parole. He was jailed 8.5 years ago for the murder of his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. The UN has rejected Israeli claims of slow aid deliveries to Gaza. Its agencies said their work was being impeded by many factors, including Israel's military operations. Victims of Wednesday's bomb attacks in Iran are being buried today. At least 48 people were killed in the explosions Islamic State militants say they carried out. Tesla is recalling more than 1.5 million cars from the Chinese market. Beijing says the move, the second in a year, is aimed at fixing software and locking problems. As attacks on shipping continue in the Arabian Sea, India has said it's responding to a suspected hijacking of a cargo ship. The vessel is said to have been boarded by armed men. It's not known who they are. 92 people are now known to have died in the earthquake that hit Japan on Monday. More than 200 are missing. The US is sending aid to the affected areas. 2 commuter trains have collided on the island of Java in Indonesia. At least 3 people were killed and many others injured. The German Vice-Chancellor has condemned violence as means of protest. Earlier, a group of demonstrating farmers blockaded a ferry he was travelling on. The former head of the European Commission, Jacques Delors, is being commemorated at a national tribute in France. He was one of the main architects of the present-day EU, built around the single market and a common currency. That's the latest.
Finding a partner who shares your faith can be hard as a single Christian.
To the Real
Maybe
Story
you've tried to
from
meet
BBC
someone
World
at
Service
church,
with me, Sean
work,
Ray.
or
This
on
week,
mainstream dating
we're
apps.
asking at the start of a year
There
in
is
which
another
more
way.
people than ever
Over
before will have the
100,000
opportunity
people have
to
already
vote.
found
Is the
lasting
world
love
losing
on
faith
Christian
in
Connection,
democracy? With
the
our
award-winning
panel,
dating app that's been
Stillman,
connecting
Senior
people of
Analyst for
faith for
Africa,
nearly 25
Eurasian
years.
think tank in
It only
Cape Town,
takes a minute to sign up,
Debashish Roy
create your
Chowdhury,
profile,
journalist
and start
who's
connecting.
called for the book To Kill a
It's safe,
Democracy,
secure,
India's
and free
Passage
to join.
Despotism, who's
So,
in Calcutta,
if you're ready
and
to find
Liliana
love,
Mason, Associate
join at
Professor of Political Science
christiancconnection.com
at Johns
or find
Hopkins
us in the App
University,
Store
author
and start
of
connecting
Uncivil
today.
Agreement, How Politics Became Our Identity. She joins us from Washington, D.C.
The TUI Live Happy
We've
sale
interrogated the
is
question
back.
globally. Now I'd like to try to apply
Save
those
up to
lessons to 3
£250
particular
for
countries
a booking.
holding elections. Let's begin in South Africa, which held its first national election in which every adult was able to vote only 30 years ago. And boy, did they. 20 million people queued outside polling stations over the 4 days they were open. Turnout was 86.9% and resulted in the election of the ANC and the inauguration of Nelson Mandela as head of state.
To promote that which will advance and to oppose
all that may harm the Republic, to obey, observe, uphold and maintain the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic, to discharge my duties with all my strength and talent to the best of my knowledge and ability. And
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired. Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Best radio show. The best radio show.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Around the world.
In your car. At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
Broadcasting live online.
Body is your man. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. We don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you just smile. Hey, this is Archie, and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show. And the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Welcome.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade, Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands.
And that is how I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. And those of you on other planets as well will salute you and welcome you to the Friday edition of the morning show. Today is the 5th day of January, the year 2024, where the time now is exactly at 10:51, running behind each other. But hey, I promise you one thing for sure, we're going to deliver on all our promises. We'll not be like politicians. Nah. Myself, my colleague, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, behind the scenes, oh boy, we're going to make sure that we deliver on it. So once again, let me say welcome to the program and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. And those of you who have not heard from me this year, I say a happy, glorious and prosperous and peaceful new year to you all. Let me say good morning and a happy new year to Bishop Adeshina as well. He's also posted his comment saying that greetings and happy new year. Man of God, happy new year to you and to the team. Your colleagues at the RBS office in Lagos, Nigeria. And let me also take this opportunity to say good morning to Pastor Momo, Anthony Didaji Aziz. And Shamsuddin, good morning to you. Rachel, good morning.
All of you makes my heart.
And all you wonderful people who have joined us today. You know what? Do me a massive favor. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages.
And that's what makes you great.
Regards from Starr Radio UK to you, my bishop, as well. My brother Felix, what the way you know doing? Felix, I hope you are doing very well. Please get in touch.
Till the end.
Okay, let's crack on. So, the quote for the day says, success only gets attracted to the prepared mind. And this is something that we're discussing behind the scenes, myself and my producer. It says, success only gets attracted to the prepared mind. Have you prepared anything? If you have, then you know that you can get that success that you want. Of course, not discounting prayers and faith. And let's say good morning to our money man himself, Mr. John Tabiru, CEO of DIL Accountancy Services. Three fingers and everything crossed. He's not said otherwise, so we hope that at 12:10 they will be getting him on the program as well.
God Almighty.
Now moving on straight to the weather front as well. This is what the weather has got in stock for us. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
All of you makes my heart beat.
For London and the southeast of England, this is how the weather is going to be for you. This afternoon will be there will be a few brighter spells at times, but large areas of cloud as well with the odd spot of rain cannot be discounted. And then I'm going to say mostly cloudy tonight with some light spells of rain or drizzle drifting in at times. There's going to be low clouds or mist remaining towards dawn, along with light gentle northerly to northwesterly winds expected as well. The Temperature is going to be 8 degrees, the lowest is going to be 5 degrees. UV level low, pollution low. Sunset is 16:07, and sunrise for tomorrow morning 08:06 hours. So when it comes to Saturday, temperature is going to be 7 degrees, the lowest is going to be 2 degrees. And then come Sunday, temperature is 6 degrees, the lowest 2 degrees as well. And we'll have the temperatures dropping a bit, but it will rise a bit up once again come mid next week. So that is the by way of weather forecast for you today from the UK front, or coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'm moving on straight to the travel this morning, wherever you might be. Yes. The underground central line has got minor delays, district line severe delays, and Piccadilly line minor delays. Other side, all the others are running a good service. And London Overground, DLR London Tram, there's good service there as well. When it comes to the major roads in London, well, central London red routes have got serious delays, so if you can avoid that, do so. All the rest have got no exceptional delays. The river bus is running a good service. The London cable car is also running a good service, and that brings us straight to the final segment of the travel update. That is the National Rail. Well, cross country, first all trains, Gatwick Express, Grand Central, Great Northern, London Northeastern, Newmore, ScotRail, Southeastern, Southern, Thameslink, and Transport for Wales have all got minor delays. Also, Great Western Railway, Great Western Railway, Southwestern Railway have got special service. So wherever you are, that is the information for you on your travel this morning here in London, or in the UK as a whole. So let me say it this way: good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your comment for today. But you know what? Continue to keep your eyes where? On the road. Pray you, Lord. Pray Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired. Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa will provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233244941 002 or 00233200606 and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program once again, Starr Radio UK. 2 minutes to 11 the time, right behind Shadow. But hey, I'm going to bring you everything I need to know. Some of the stories I'm going to be doing today, so by way of going global trotting. Well. Now, it says, in a forest scandal, EFCC comes Dangote's headquarters for documents to probe 51 firms. Okay, and then it says operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on Thursday stormed the headquarters of Dangote Industries Limited in Ikoyi, Lagos, in furtherance of the ongoing investigation into alleged abuse of foreign exchange allocation by the immediate past governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Well, did he grant him or his firm lots of foreign currency? Yomi is going to tell you more about that. 50% of people in Enugu cannot read. What kind of education are they giving to them? What kind of education? And our teachers being trained the way they're supposed to? Are they earning enough to go there, sacrifice themselves and everything? Or what? Turn AJ, massive good morning to you. I hope you are doing very, very well as well. He says, good morning to Archie and the great white lion. We love you to bits. Yeah, thank you very, very, very much for joining us once again. And then some other stories coming from Nigeria, a lot more from there. Suspected Boko Haram insurgents have killed Pastor Luca Levon of the Church of Christ in Nations inquiry. We're going to be telling you more about that. 10 terrorists killed, 9 victims rescued in Katsina in Zamfara State. Sad one. Insecurity. But the military are looking elsewhere, right? Okay. Let's move on to some other stories making the rounds this morning. There as well. From where? From all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. So when it comes to other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world, the last dinner party wins BBC Sound of 2024, the list that previously predicted success for Adele and Sam Smith. Those are some of the stories making the rounds here in the UK front. In other parts of the world as well, Paralympian and murderer Pistorius freed on parole. The way they captured is quite interesting. Paralympian and murderer. Well, he served his time, right? Okay. And North Korea fires artillery shells towards border island. Now, South Korea had afterwards issued an evacuation warning to its civilians on the island. Just bear with me. Israeli minister outlines plans for Gaza after war. The plans are unveiled by the defense minister as fighting rages on in Palestinian territory. And recruitment of girls detailed in second Epstein batch. Florida detective says in testimony that 30 women perform massage at his Florida mansion. Oh boy. Okay. Some other stories. We're going to be telling you more about all of them. When it comes to other stories, well, Pistorius story goes around everywhere on the international stories. Zimbabwe gold mine collapses and leaves 11 miners trapped. And what needs to be done in Africa is to build cooperation. Georgina Meloni, Italy's former leader, is it the wife or the daughter, is saying, I'll bring you more from that point. USA, South Africa's court case accusing Israel of genocide is meritless. Well, I rest my case. Let me just move from there and have a look at some other stories. UN warns of humanitarian crisis in Sudan as ceasefire talks stalls. Well, now 2024 election resources the police to carry out its duty at Dambona to government. But will government do that? Especially when they see that, well, the police want to actually crack the whip and make sure that things pan out the way they're supposed to be, and there will not be any underhand dealings. Remember that case that took place there and that had to go to Parliament for some hearing there where the IGP was called. Nakwale, good morning to you. I hope you are doing very, very well. Nakwale, where are you listening to us from? It will be lovely to know that. And I struggle with identity. Bozoma is saying, well, it's more coming away from there. Keep the army away from elections. Adambona to government. It's quite an interesting one. Will government do though? That is a big question. I'll be telling you more about all that. Okay, so lots more going to be coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's enjoy this tune whilst we wait for Mr. Olayomi Koiki to join in. Stay tuned. Don't tag the dial. That is from Kofi Boham. And he says, X in one basket. Yes, put your faith somewhere. Where?
Yeah.
But my producer says I didn't tell you my name. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only Archie. Welcome on board.
This is Starr Radio UK.
I was told
When you want to cross the road, look left, right, and left again. Look left, right, and left again. If you don't do this, you could die in pain. A motor go fit to jam you insane. Ay, 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 ay. But one day I saw you when you called my name, and I took no precautions to look elsewhere. Cause I can never be a casualty in your hands, oh my Jesus, say I can never be a casualty in your hands, You have not let one person slip. I can never be a casualty in your hands, I am my safest with you. I can never be a casualty in your hands. I can never be a casualty in your hands, Nobody has been, I will not be the first. I will never be. I can never be a casualty in your hands, No, 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 no. Cause I have put all my eggs into one basket. That basket is you, Jesus. 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 Say they can call me and say, they can call me and say, I have made my choice. I will follow till the end of the road. I have no backup plan besides you. My basket is you. Say I have put all my eggs into one basket. That basket is you, Jesus. 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 Say they can call me and say, they can call me and say, I have made my choice. I will follow till the end of the road. I have no backup plan besides you. My basket, Jesus.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Said it's risky to follow Jesus. I tell them
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world.
spend your money on fun.
In your car,
At work,
at home.
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
I choose to pay tight, so don't advise me. Think on
Are you ready to turn it up? Are you ready to turn it up? All my eggs into one basket.
That basket is you, Jesus.
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 Saying they can call me.
They can call me and say, I have made my choice. I will follow till the end of the road. I have no backup plan beside you. My basket, Jesus. I have all my eggs into one basket.
That basket is you, Jesus.
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 They can call me crazy, crazy, crazy.
They can call me and say,
Now it is saying that you don't put all your basket, your eggs in one basket. But the songwriter is saying that, well, he's put his eggs in one basket, and that is in Jesus. Saying that he knows that somewhere, somehow, he comes through for him all the time. So, well, you got to find somewhere to put your eggs, right? If you don't know, this is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Don't you worry, yes, I'm going to bring you lots of music during the course of the program. But hey, for now, we got to get on. Because I've got with me Miss Olayomi Koiki, my colleague and co-presenter, who is joining. And now we're going to be bringing you all that you need to know when it comes to the updates from where? Nigeria this morning. So let me see whether we can hear him. Yomi, massive good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, but yes. I hope you can hear.
I can hear you. Yes, okay. Earlier on, your listen was frozen, but it's good now. Don't worry about it. Okay, yes. How are you doing? How is the family?
Well, we're doing very well. The family, we're still on holiday mode, so that means that we have to do most of the work that the teachers does for the next couple of days until the children return back to school. But for now, we have to be the one in charge. But I say good morning, and I hope yours are doing very well, just as many of our listeners that have joined us as usual. It is the last day of the week, and that literally means that there's still a lot to catch up from Nigeria this morning, on the Star Radio UK with yourself and myself and many of our listeners when it comes to news update from Nigeria.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, my colleague and co-presenter in our North London studios, and we're going to be bringing you, as he said, everything from where? Nigeria this morning. Okay, now let's kick off by a story pertaining to the EFCC. I mean, if they will go to any place, I mean, one business entity that worldwide everybody quotes, when they hear his name, everybody want to somehow be associated with him, and they say, no, the EFCC has gone to Dangote's industrial headquarters. Tell us more about that story.
Well, every Nigerians and everyone around the world knows the biggest venture of our time, and that is the Dangote refinery, owned by one man known as Dangote. Is the Africa largest oil facility, which is now we were told that it's completed, but I don't think it's fully completed, but it is halfway through. But yesterday, as the news, we're just trying to get you, as the engineer working to give us the background, because not everybody knows him. But again, like I said, Dangote is well known around the world for not just his business venture, but also for a lot of work that it does in different part of Africa. Remember that Dangote sells most of his cement in most African countries. But the news broke out yesterday that the EFCC, anti-graft agency, conduct search on the most important part of Dangote head office in Lagos State. As much as many people might be wondering why Dangote still have his empire headquarters in Lagos State. Lagos is still where the happening is going. If you're not in Lagos, you are probably missing, because as much as Abuja seems to be the capital, Lagos is still the venture of the world. So that means that the Dangote project is still operating right inside Lagos State. But let's give you a bit of more background to what we know so far. Operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, known as the EFCC, are currently conducting a search operation at the Lagos head office of the Dangote Group. The EFCC operatives are reportedly conducting a search on the forex allocations. I want us to take note of that. The forex allocation to the company during the tenure of the former CBN governor Godwin Emefiele as the governor of the central bank. According to Dele Oyewale, the spokesman for the EFCC, says, and I quote, confirmed that, also said that on Tuesday, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, like we said earlier yesterday, received its first shipment of 1 million barrels of Bonny light crude oil that was supplied by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. There's been a lot of Nigerians that are very, very skeptical with Dangote. It seems that many believe that Dangote is just another front, but was making use of much advantage as a monopoly or as an organization that was using the CBN to backtrack a lot of the project that he was doing. But I don't think any country would not want to allow a big venture like this to be supported by the federal government. But why is the searchlight now heading into the Dangote is the question this morning. I'm going to come back again to you in the studio, but for now, that is the current situation, as we can say, coming from the news headline in Nigeria.
Now, has there been any response from the Dangote establishment itself that maybe, when there are issues like that, they tell that, no, we don't think that we've done anything, or they are saying that, well, so far as we are concerned, we've not done anything wrong, and therefore, you can do whatever you want to do. What has been their response?
Well, so far, I've not picked anything, but I will see if there's anything coming from the social media handle where I believe they also speak to many Nigerians from. But like I said, there's nothing wrong if any organization is being looked into. But right now, as I speak to you, what is trending on the social media is picking on the Dangote itself. I'm talking about the Dangote, group of ventures where many Nigerians are following the situation. But like I said, if I pick up on anything on the update from the Dangote itself, I'll be telling you that. But for now, let me come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios. I'm Archie here in the South studios, and we are bringing you updates from Nigeria at the moment. Now, let's when you look at the story, they are doing all because they reckon that Emefiele, some way, somehow, sort of was in cahoots with him to give him all the means that the foreign exchange that he needs to be doing his business. And as you have confirmed that, look, if a venture is good, I mean, you go to the banks, they'll tell you, bring your business plan. They look at the business plan. If it's good, why not? Why not? So, are they going to, at a point, bring Buhari in there as well? Because I know that Emefiele will not give huge sums of foreign exchange to Dangote's establishment without the consent of the president. We know that here things work differently, but when it comes to Nigeria or African continent, it doesn't work that way. What do you think?
Well, you're quite right. As many Nigerians believe that nothing would have happened if the present administration the previous administration have not given the go-ahead. We know that, like I said earlier, every country would love to make sure that it can protect, businesses that are doing very well. We talked about Amazon here, employ about 75,000 workers. So the last thing the British government would like to not support, Amazon, to make sure that they are paying the right taxes, and also to support the businesses and that are working with this, group of companies. But like I said, nothing is coming from the Dangote at the moment. Maybe they're just allowing the EFCC to continue their operation. But what have been the reaction is what you might want to ask me. There's been a lot of many reactions, and I'm going to pick one from Mr. Kalu Aja. Mr. Kalu Aja is an author, Making Money, Economy, and Personal Finance to Make It Easy. He's also someone that is consulted on when it comes to the financial sector in Nigeria and so many other areas as well. So what is he saying? Before Dangote, there were folks like Archie, Alawo, Otto, Eze, to mention a few. Where are their factories? So again, many people are saying, why is it just one person or one group of people that are making so much in terms of production in Nigeria today? There is no magnificent wealth created in Nigeria without holding the hand of the government. I want you to take note of that. There is no magnificent wealth created in Nigeria without the holding hand. So that means that if I want to become very powerful and rich, well, I have to hold the hands of the government. Yeah. And it doesn't matter, whether it is the APC, the PDP. These are individuals that do not criticize. We know that same things happen in UK where, the Conservative and the Labour Party have what they call their donors, and they don't want to upset them too much. Dangote started building cement plant from zero capacity. What were the WAPCO, the CCNN, and others were doing? A question mark. Why didn't WAPCO build new cement plant in the exact same spot Dangote did? Question mark. Why did they leave cash on the table? Question mark. Dangote has perfected the act of government patronage. That is all he has done, and he has done it, perfected it. There's a mansion I saw in this new Nigeria up northeast with gold, oil, no life there. The owner is an oil magnate. He donates to schools abroad. How much has the guy invested in Nigeria? Question mark. Where is his factory? Question mark. What about Mr. Ibeto? Question mark. Why did he not build a similar cement factory in Inkalugu? Question mark. Dangote has an onshore is import business and is making money from Nigeria. When the Dangote refinery starts to work, Dangote will become the undisputed richest man in Africa from question mark investing in Nigeria. Remember the PZ? They left Nigeria a long time ago. A Nigerian bought the right. That is Nemet. It is still there. Look at Innocent Motors. Look at his footprint today. Doing business in Nigeria is hell. Wow. But those that can crack that code will become billionaires. My summary, we need more Nigerian billionaires to invest in Nigeria than the Oyibo that will come.
I agree with the person 101%. Because the thing is, we have people who have made lots of money and their investments are outside. So how does it benefit the people in our countries? So if Dangote is doing that and all his investment is in Nigeria, what is wrong? I know that he has other investments, but majority of his stake is there. Now, somebody sent something to me when we started saying this, and he's saying that he thinks there's a conspiracy because those in the oil industry know that with the refinery, that is going to stop or cut short those who import finished oil products into the country, petrol, diesel, and all that. So they think that, well, some people have gone in there to try to sabotage or do that. It's a conspiracy that we are talking about. We hope to know exactly what is going on. But, well, if we said I'm going to be just quiet and let things like that happen, well, I've never met Dangote. I've never benefited from any of his businesses. No, I have not. But if somebody is doing the right thing and is helping us, I don't think we have to come against them that particular way that the EFCC have done. But who knows? Listen to Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now let's move on. Now we talk about education. And education is one of the factors that helps development. Now, if you have healthy people and you have education, then I can tell you for sure that, look, given an enabling environment, your country will thrive. But it's the case where in one particular state, they are saying that 50% of the people in Enugu cannot read. So the question is, are the teachers who are teaching them, well knowledgeable? Are they equipped enough to teach them? Or is it that the environment is such that when the children even get to the classroom, they are so hungry, they don't even have the head to study? Yomi, what is causing this?
Well, like you said, I remember when you arrive in UK, you wonder why someone that doesn't have full qualification but is well read to some extent has become the manager and supervisor. But you have got this good education, don't have that access. Well, let's start with the state that you talked about. We're talking about the southeast part of Nigeria today. And that is again Enugu State. Enugu State, just like many other states across the 36 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is a state in the southeast geopolitical zone of Nigeria. It borders to the north by the state of Benue and Kogi, Ebonyi State to the east, and the southeast, Abia State to the south, and Anambra to the west. The state, its name is from the capital, the largest city, Enugu. It was founded on the 27th of August, 1991, with about almost 13,161 kilometers square. What we are discussing this morning is also the same replication to all the other states as well. But according to the news coming out from Enugu, says 50% of the pupils in Enugu cannot read, say, according to the SSG. I received the only letter that came into the house yesterday, was addressed to my son, my younger one, and it is coming from the school. And as I was giving it to him, he was able to read every detail of the message from the school, congratulating them that they are still on holiday, and also, other things that was said in there. The question is, after 6 years of primary school, 50% of our children cannot read a single word in English. Could that be that maybe because, again, we shouldn't be using English to teach them? Again, if it was a local language, maybe they would have picked on it, because, again, that has been the argument in Africa, that we have been given the English, even though English is not our original language. When you go to China, they don't have to read in English, but they can read and write in their own language. The secretary to the Enugu State government says, Professor Chidibere Onye, says 50% of the pupils in that state can neither read in English nor even solve a simple mathematics question. I'm sure if they are allowed to read in their language, they might be able to perform well. But since the British colonized Nigeria, English has been our main first language, while other languages, which about 350 languages in Nigeria, has become a second class.
But somebody would say that when it comes to, English language, the French colonies, the former French colonies also use French, and then we have the Portuguese and the various ones. Now, you look at the world as a whole, you want to be able, because the world has become a very small place, a global village, and therefore we have to have a way of communicating. You would say you're talking about the Chinese, who we know they like their language, but you have them, those who want to enter into the international scene will have to know how to communicate. Okay, so definitely we have them learning English language. So fine, we could have a state where we have the English language, and then we have let's say Yoruba, or I don't know, the Igbo, or whatever language, that a local language that we or traditional languages that we were born with or that we could use. But I'm of the view that the way the teachers are maybe teaching them, because you were educated in Nigeria before you had your basic education, let me put it that way, secondary, before you came here, and you came to uni and did everything that you have to do here, but you were well informed. So how come that you were well informed?
Well, they are not? Again, I think if we go back to the regional government, this is where the legend, we call him the legend of the time, even though he died in the 80s, about 1982, if I'm right, I'm talking about the one and only, the late Obafemi Awolowo. This is where somebody like the Professor Banji Akintoye, continue to emphasize that the education sector in Nigeria today have been destroyed after, the collapse of the regional government. So what we are witnessing in the Southeast is because of the collapse of what is called the regional government. The regional government, as at the time, gave everything possibly best to allow every region to develop to the standard. The question is, why have we not got, the best of what, we should say, the education in Enugu State? Is it because we're lacking, the materials? What about the teachers? Are they well trained, to be able to cope and manage these students from the nursery up to the secondary? But on top of these, our children suffer skill gap because existing mode of teaching do not equip children with scientific, technological, productivity, and digital competencies. The student here in UK, my children, immediately they come back from school, after having their meal, they pick up their iPad. That iPad, they log into the system, which is called the Mathletics. That automatically connect to the school. Whatever they are doing right there is submitted to the school, and that also gives them some kind of reward. And like I said, every now and then their target is to get to gold, because by the time they complete about 10 or section of it, it then increase their level of understanding. But in Nigeria today, when they talk about the technological part of it, the question is, does a child has full electricity, not to talk about having the tablet to be able to work with? I remember one of the former governor of Osun State, as at the time, created a smart same thing. But all we know is it ended up to become another corrupt system, making somebody rich. And today, there's nothing called smart technology or smart schooling in that particular state, in Osun State. And again, we come back. But it seems that the Senate are doing their best. We take me to the next headline. There's a bill to establish 47 new universities that scales the second reading. The number of the federal-owned universities in Nigeria may hit 99 in the coming month, as a bill to establish 47 new ones has now scaled through the second reading. This is just as about 56 bills have passed the second reading to establish federal medical centers in different parts of the country. The report currently says that there are 52 federal universities in Nigeria, with some of the state federation hosting more than one. Also, there's considering various bills to establish 32 federal colleges of education, 11 federal colleges of agriculture, 5 federal polytechnics, in addition to the already existing institution. So you can see that the government is also trying to produce more, but is the quality good? Because we've heard yesterday that there is now fake education where you can study for 4 days for a 4-year program in some of the African countries.
Who knows? That is expedited education. There you just go 4 days, you have finished. You have a degree. Interesting, right? Listeners, it is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. What do you think about everything that we are discussing so far this morning? I wanted to have your take. You can put it on our comment page on Facebook, YouTube, and all the platforms that we are broadcasting on. Or when the lines are open, you can call in and we will allow you to bring your take to us. But share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. Now let's move on to one most important thing that is happening in Nigeria, that something has to be done about it, and that is insecurity. Suspected Boko Haram insurgents have killed a pastor, Luka Levon, of the Church of Christ Nations, and he's talking. And then we were talking about the fact that out of that, another 10 terrorists have been killed, 9 victims rescued in Katsina. So insecurity is going on. We talked about 2023, the first 6 months of the president, and everything that has gone on, but it looks like we are still on the ascendancy instead of being on descendancy, because we have new security top hooks who were expecting that they will, by this time, 6 months, settle down and would have come out with something tangible for us to see that when it comes to security, they are working on it. But it doesn't seem to be so. Yomi?
Well, as we continue to monitor what is happening in Plateau State, I can confirm that there's going to be a protest at the Nigerian High Commission on the 10th of January, for the massacre that has taken place in Plateau State. But, also in the last 48 hours, we're hearing that more people have been massacred and killed by the same, Fulani Boko Haram terrorists in Kaduna State. 5 suspected Boko Haram insurgency killed past of 5 others in Yobe State. As we continue to ask questions around, what the government will be doing differently, to secure Nigerians, from these activities of the terrorists that have become one of the biggest threats right now to the economy, to the welfare of so many Nigerians. Boko Haram insurgents have killed Pastor Luka Levong of the Church of Christ in Nation in Kwari, Gaiden local government area of Yobe State. The attackers also killed 5 people. On the 2nd of January, like I said, there's always a delay in news from Nigeria. We picked up, from some of the community in Atisbo local government area in Oyo State, where they were heading to the farm. 2 people have been massacred. They are not dead, but they are almost half dead because they are on their bed with machetes and all kind of, injury to the body. One of them is no longer been found. Is now 20 million. These Fulani terrorists are asking from. So it's not just in Southwest. We can see that the insecurity is becoming alarming, but it seems that the budget of 27 trillion naira from the present administration also has the budget for the military. Will the military be able to take it, to support? I listened to the video of the individuals that were killed in Plateau State. They went to the checkpoint, requested the military to come and support. But what the military that they met at the checkpoint said was, yes, they have this firepower here, but they haven't got the weapon to come and rescue the current savage. And that led to over 200 people killed because the military at the checkpoint did not have ammunition to fight against the insurgents of the terrorists in Plateau State just before Christmas.
That is a sad one. That is a sad one. It is a sad one there. I was of the view that, new security chiefs, and therefore we would have seen different things. 6 months on, and it seemed to be getting worse. Than maybe you are in Nigeria and listening to us, you've been there of late and you are back wherever you are, and you think that no. What we are saying, we are talking about it differently. Feel free and let us know. But yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, when we were talking about the recruitment? I think it was yesterday, and where we had some audio pertaining to some group, Kaduna youth, who were imposing themselves as people from the south or from Lagos State, and saying that they were going to get their get recruited into the army. But a group is saying that is telling the army recruitment, a group false arrest of Kaduna youth in Lagos. Yomi.
Well, the youth wing of the Southern Kaduna Union has condemned the arrest of all youth originally from Kaduna residing in Lagos and seeking enlistment into the Nigerian Army. The Union National Coordinator, Issa John, in a statement today, said the Constitution defines Nigerian citizenship and the Nigerian military outlines specific requirements and eligibility criteria for enlistment, none of which pertain to linguistic or tribal consideration, such as the ability to speak Yoruba. So this group is already faulting, the interviewers for asking people from Kaduna State that now have the indigenous certificate, which they've already confirmed is fake, because they were not given this certificate from any of the local government that they mentioned. They actually went to the internet cafe and decided to design and print it out themselves and try to enlist themselves into the military slot that is meant for the Lagos State. But the Lagos State government have now called for the arrest and the trial of the 6 northern candidates participating in this Nigerian Army recruitment process, who are claiming to be indigenous of the state, but yet they are not. But it seems that, from Kaduna State, the Union National Coordinator of the Southern Kaduna People's Union is already condemning, that says that the Nigerian Constitution allows you to be part of the Nigerian military, but maybe they forgot to mention that these individuals were also creating a fake identity to make themselves being a Lagos indigene, even though it was all done from the internet cafe, somewhere maybe in Kaduna, and brought it to Lagos State.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? Bishop Adesina is talking about education. He says, "God have mercy, fake education." Bishop, yes, oh yes. You want to have a degree? 4 days, no, Charlie. You have your degree. You become after all, the president has a fake certificate, Abi. But interestingly, now you see, yesterday when we were discussing this issue pertaining to the recruitment thing and eligibility, I said that, are they, so far as somebody is in Nigeria, they should be allowed, but you were saying that no, they've done it so that everyone will have to be recruited from their own state where they hail from. So does it actually not actually break Nigeria into bits?
Well, it's just remember that what the Constitution is designed is to make sure that to bring everybody on board into part of the military. So if you're going to employ someone into the military, it has to be, across board. So that means that you have to then give allocations to each of the states so that they can have the, different, military or the security agencies in the country. But it seems that what we saw from this viral video is that some individuals pretending to be indigenous of the state, which they are not, and trying to take the slot that belongs to the Lagos. Doesn't mean that the Lagos indigene and the northern indigene and the southeast indigene and the middle belt will not all work in one uniform when they get employed and posted in different regions. It's just that these were pretending to be indigene that they are not. But again, it seems that the Lagos state government is now asking for a thorough investigation, and some are already concerned that maybe this has been going on for some time. It didn't start today.
Okay, listeners, Starr Radio UK, 11:37 the time. We'll go to Yomi for the rest of the stories making the rounds. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, we go straight to some of those, headlines and reports as we continue to monitor the power firms. Are now saying that they will need $2.5 billion, to be able to get the new capital, federal government. Electricity is a big problem, not just in Africans, but for those that do not want to invest in it. We've been talking about the power sector in Nigeria for the last 63 years, but it involves and it needs a lot of money to be able to get it up and going. Nigerian electricity companies are shocked of an estimated 2 trillion naira, equivalent to about $2.5 billion in capital. They need new investors to revive the industry that can barely supply power to its 200 million residents. The power companies in Nigeria are over-leveraged, undercapitalized, which has limited their capacity to invest in distributing electricity to households. Olu, an advisor to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the energy, said in an interview to Bloomberg on Thursday yesterday, Nigeria generates and supply between 3,500 megawatts 4,500 megawatts to the millions of citizens across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. On Thursday, for instance, the country's power generated was just under 5,000 as at 6 a.m. Inadequate pricing patch. I'm getting a feed coming back from you there, Mr. Archie.
Yeah.
Inadequate pricing patch, revenue collection, and a dilapidated national grid have left most residents in Africa's most populated nation to produce their own using noisy generator. Let's take a case of Lagos State. The grid delivers 1,000 megawatts. I'm talking about 1,000 megawatts. That is not enough to some organizations that are using huge amount of that. I'm sure Dangote will be needing more of that to power the refinery 24/7. But the whole of 25 million people that are living in Lagos State will have to depend and rely on 1,000 megawatt. By contrast, Shanghai, with roughly the same population, let's take a note of this. Shanghai, with the roughly same population of Lagos State, supplies nothing less than 30,000 megawatt at a peak demand. And when we talk about peak demand, I'm sure when you watch the Premier League, the moment the Premier League goes, because I've seen this documentary before, goes into the halftime, many people want to make their cup of tea. And that means that the heating system as at that time need extra support. And that literally means that, more power is generated at that particular time. That means that Lagos State will never compete with Shanghai because we are losing about 29,000 megawatts that we don't have. What do we do? How do we resolve these problems? It's just the same questions that have been going on. Let's hope that this administration will allow investors to give Lagos State what it needs and power Lagos State to the extent of where we need it. I'm going to take us straight again to, more into the business, and then I'll go straight to the social media. It is still the first Friday of the month of January in 2024. Passengers seek extension as federal government transport subsidy ends. Who doesn't want anything that is free? I'm sure when they say buy one, get one free, you might as well want to check the price that maybe you're not buying one free, you are buying the same price for the two. But as Nigerians have enjoyed that little leeway of the subsidy from the government, maybe because the subsidy was removed in May and the government decided to give subsidy during the holiday period. But that cannot continue because many Nigerians must remember that money that were used to build this railway were borrowed and we got to pay it back. And that literally means that subsidy on the rail transport will probably not continue. Some passengers have called on President Bola Tinubu to extend the 50% transport rebate deadline to enable Nigerians to travel to various parts of the country during the Christmas celebration to return to their destination. This came as reports say that 6,000 passengers benefited from the scheme at the Oshodi Transport Interchange in Lagos. The managing director of Planet Project, Abiodun Otunlola, disclosed this in Lagos yesterday. Otunlola, who was briefing the media at the closing event of the initial, expressed delight that the program had positively impacted many Nigerians, as evidenced by the surge in the number of travelers that was recorded during that period. So let's hope that something can be done differently. Jigawa eyes 2 million tons of wheat for export. We need a lot of wheat. President appoints 6 executive directors of the NPA and NIMASA, and the foundation supports small, medium enterprise. And the last one is, let us prioritize manufacturing industry. Coleman tells the federal government, if we are not producing anything, we will not have the forex, and many Nigerians will rely on the diaspora to continue to live in that same poverty. The managing director of the Coleman Wires and Cable, George Onofowokon, has urged the federal government to place its priority on the manufacturing sector in 2024. In a statement, Onofowokon appealed to the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment to take the plight of manufacturers to the presidency. According to the MD, having a minister who does not advocate for industry within the government indicates that there's a problem. He also emphasized that the industry should take the precedence over the trade and investment. Again, any industry will need power. Without power, the industry is as dead as a river. Let's go straight to what is happening on the social media before I return back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie. Borno youth take urine, lizard dung methylated spirit to get high. It seems that everybody wants to get high, but we continue to say the abuse of drugs continue in Nigeria, and we hope the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be doing everything possibly best to revive many Nigerians from taking drugs, or those that are also planning to take drugs out of Nigeria, and they probably return back if they survive with goods and sell it as businessman and businesswoman. And many people have been caught as they continue the fight against taking drug out of Nigeria. The U.S. convict 10 Nigerians over transnational cybercrime in the marketplace. And also, let's say that yesterday, the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement, Professor Adebanji Akintoye's phone was compromised. If you listen to us and messages are coming that he needs money, it is important that that phone is no longer in his care. It has been hijacked. And as we always say all the time, let us take the security of our phones very, very serious. So yesterday, the breaking news came out from Benin Republic that the mobile phone ending with 9885 of the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination Campaign, Professor Adebanji Akintoye, has been compromised. And we have been told to say to everyone out there that if you or one of those of you that have access to that number prior to that, I received a message, just as many Nigerians, or many Yorubas rather, have received the same messages, that Professor Adebanji Akintoye needs money because he wanted to do some transaction from his phone, but he's unable to do so. So let's go now to what is happening on the social media. Betty Edu is trending, and I'm sure if you are not aware of her, she is the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Elevation under this present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Why is she trending this morning? Let's see if we can find out. Halima Shehu was arrested for channeling a whopping 17 billion naira into a private account without the authorization of the president. And now there's a fresh case of Betty Edu in an alleged involvement of misappropriation of another 3 billion naira. What is wrong with women? Well, women are very powerful when it comes to politics. Women are very hardworking. But it seems that in Nigeria, women sometimes also dip their hands in the coffer. We know that, the case of Alison Madueke Designing will be coming into UK, in 2025. It is still an allegation, but we know that what we've had is that under the NCA, the National Crime Agency in UK, have decided to bring her to court. We saw her at the court for a very first time after a very long time living quietly in UK. Even she said she's currently have a cancer. Now let's pick on another one from the social media. Omotayo Williams _ Abduna resident. SAC CEO Halima Shehu has stated that she moved 30 billion naira. Is accused of embezzling to the other account because the minister Betty Edu wanted to embezzle everything. It seems that Betty Edu wanted to embezzle, so somebody moved it as well. She stated that Betty has already misappropriated 3 billion in 1 month. Okay, let me not mix the picture together. The one behind me right now is Lima, and the one we're going to be bringing up now is Betu. We'll try and see if we can merge them together on Monday, but it seems already that corruption, like some say, is already, in this present administration. You can hear that billions and billions is being moved. Right there behind you in the camera is the minister that has moved the 30 billion, but the one that wants to take 3 billion is because he's the minister for education. Maybe she needed it for something, but again, that is Betu Edu right behind me. So we don't mix them together. These are two new women working under this new administration already. You can hear the reason why they are trending. Nigeria is a crime scene. He stated that Betty has already misappropriated 3 billion in 1 month. And Betty is the one behind me there. So Omotayo Williams said Nigeria is a crime scene. We take one more from the trending of these two individuals. Kebby King at Kebby_King Jr. said Halima Shehu. Again, I don't want us to mix it together. This is Halima. Halima Shehu was arrested for channeling whooping 17 billion into private account without authorization of the president. And the first case is that Betu, which is the next one, is the one trying to move the money. So Nigerians are kind of like, what is going on? This is a new administration, but already we're talking about billions and billions being moved around. What is also trending this morning? Dangote is trending. So let's pick on the reaction of Nigerians on Dangote as we started this morning from Dangote, firm. If Pafun Shaw says, and I quote, over 11 years now, Dangote has been the richest man in Africa, but this man here has taken over from him as the current richest man in Africa. He's a South African billionaire. He runs Swiss-based luxury goods. And the reaction coming from the Kalu, the one we spoke about earlier, I DM you, it wasn't going through. How else can I reach you? Well, I got your DM and responded. That's a different private message. Excuse. Nigerians are a bunch of hypocrites. Excuse. This is coming from King of Salem. They have 1 million reasons they won't do business in Nigeria. Now, when they relocate abroad, you would think they would do business there. Story, excuse, and it is just excuse. And the last one, before I come to you back in the studio, Ibuka info at Ibuka NW 82 86 61 48 7 code. The problem is not investing in Nigeria. The issue is the economic, social, and political environment of Nigeria. A lot of investors want to come to Nigeria, including Nigerians in the diaspora. But the issue is that almost every sector is enmeshed in endemic corruption. The general election of 2023 left nothing to the desire of Nigeria. What will the judiciary do when you seek redress in the court of law? Question mark. Kindly note that it has both intended and unintended consequences. That is the cheapest truth, brother. And this tweet already has generated almost close to 97,000 views since yesterday to today.
Well, listen, there's quite an interesting development coming from Nigeria this morning to you. But Bishop Adeshina says it is just like Scottish claiming indigenous of English in the same United Kingdom. Those northerners have the right of certificate of independence of Kaduna. Okay, that's pertaining to, I think, the recruitment. Yeah, what we're talking about, indigenes will have to, apply in their own hometowns, not coming to another state where they don't hail from. But interestingly, somebody also has said that, well, they are talking, the EFCC is talking about the misuse of the foreign exchange by Dangote. So we will need more information to be able to agree or disagree with whatever they are doing. And the final one also talks about the fact that, well, when we put headers like that in before people who are trying to invest and do something in our countries, then others look at it and think, what is the point? Let's invest outside. And that is why most of our people don't want to invest in our countries, because there's no fair treatment when it comes to law and everything. Yummy.
Well, you're quite right. Said, it seems that when you already said it, may so rest in peace. Party government, just not the government. And as long as you are not criticizing the government as a organization, you will survive. But those that are criticized, you will probably lose everything. But let's hope that administration has many expectations, is literally coming from both the southwest, the middle belt, and the north, that Bola Tinubu will make some of those changes. Well, that is for those that believe in the country Nigeria. For those of us that are still demanding and asking that we want the right to self-determination, we hope that that right will continue to be propelled in a way that will not hinder whatever some might be thinking, that it seems that when you ask for such right, you are bringing war to Nigeria. Self-determination is not a war. It's just a right of indigenous people to decide whether they want to be Nigeria or not.
Okay, Yummy. Let me say thank you very, very much for this wonderful update once again. Have a lovely weekend and we'll catch up later.
Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Well, listeners, that has been Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria. And I am Archie, and we're going to be continuing with the morning show. But for now, we're going to be taking some music. And then once we come back, we'll continue with the show. This time round, from Kofi Boham once again, but it says what? Names of talkatives, those who always want to throw some impediments and some things your way so that you can not progress. Let's enjoy it, and I'll be with you.
Yeah. It's like my favorite song on this album, y'all.
Let me also say good morning to Omo Yoruba for Life. Hey, how are you? Thank God that you are doing well and you've joined us today as well.
It's no secret in our world. People like to talk. The things they know and the ones they don't. They will spread lies and rumors just to be known. So why are you wasting your time like this? Hearing those things that break your heart. Give no attention, give no thoughts. Cause people talk, but they'll never help you walk. So whenever they speak, look up and you will see a broken pencil and a sheet. And tell them, say, I'm writing names of talkatives. Yeah.
All of this noise you're making on me. Teacher will get you when he comes. I have a race.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
I'm writing names of talkatives.
I'm writing names of talkatives.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
All of this noise you're making on me.
Teacher, let them when he comes.
Teacher will catch you when he comes. I have a race.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
There are many voices in this life, and to be honest, many are not nice. So don't hear something and pick a knife, cause most of these things are nothing but lies. Teacher said be careful how you hear, cause there are talkatives here. They're everywhere. So silence the voices in your head and give no attention to your fears. I'm writing
names of talkatives. All of this noise you're making on me. Teacher will get you when he comes.
As for me,
I have a race.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
I'm writing names of talkatives.
I'm writing names of talkatives.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Will get you when he comes. I have a race.
Yeah.
No time to waste.
Can we talk?
Yeah.
Can we talk? Call them, say
talkatives.
Do you know any?
Talkatives.
Yeah. Have you met any?
Talkatives.
Can we write some?
Talkatives.
List some names of talkatives. I am going now.
Talkatives.
Yeah. Some friends are.
Talkatives.
Some family members.
Talkatives.
Some landlords are.
Talkatives.
I said your exes are.
Talkatives.
Your exes are.
Talkatives.
Have you known any?
Talkatives.
Move Move away far from
talkative.
Opinions are
Talkative.
bloggers,
Talkative.
social media.
Talkative.
This is Star Radio. Star Radio. This is Star Radio UK.
Talkative.
Some symptoms are
Talkative.
addictions are
Talkative.
move away from
Talkative.
people's opinions are
Talkative.
you are too fast
Talkative.
and you are too slow.
Talkative.
You talk too much.
Talkative.
You are very quiet.
Talkative.
Open makeup, dodo.
Talkative.
Your face is so raw.
Talkative.
You sing too much.
Talkative.
You don't sing at all.
Talkative.
And the last time I heard they said, are you the one they said you did? Are you sure you know her?
This is Star Radio UK.
She doesn't like me.
Talkative.
Me too. I
This
don't
is
like
Star
her.
Radio UK.
All of these things are
Talkative.
move away from
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
Around the world.
some distance from.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
Do you know any
Talkative.
Have you met any
Talkative.
Do you know any? So
Talkative.
move away from.
Talkative.
Make your own list of.
Talkative.
They will break your heart.
Talkative.
Yeah, they will slow you down.
Talkative.
They will make you doubt yourself.
Talkative.
God is working, so
Talkative.
will stop you from seeing
Talkative.
what God is doing.
Talkative.
So move away from. These people will stop you.
Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired. God, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now exactly at a minute after 12. And that means the lines are open. If you want to hop in to share your take with us, feel free to do so, because exactly at 12:30 the curtains will be brought down. We're trying to see whether we could get in touch with the money man, Mr. Dan Tabiri, but it looks like he is engaged at the moment. So if he's able to get in touch with us, we will bring in him to you. However, if not, we'll move on with it. But wherever you are, this is Star, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, and it is the Friday edition of the morning show. I remain yours sincerely, your one and only Archie. Okay. I was checking out for some. All right then. Okay. So now let's move on. Let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. And this time round, starting from the other parts of the world, not the UK front. Okay, let's start from the UK front this morning. Okay. So, in the UK, Kate Garraway says her darling husband, Derek Draper, who had been living with all complications from COVID, has died. Oh, may his soul rest in perfect peace. And our condolences to Kate Garraway as well. You know, she's fought, she's done everything, adjusting, and well. May Derek Draper's soul rest in perfect peace, and anyone who suffered any loss today, may they also their souls rest in perfect peace. And to the families our condolences there. Now, in other stories making the rounds this morning, hundreds evacuated from homes after flooding. There are 300 flood warnings in place as several rivers in England burst their banks. And some of the stories making the rounds there as well. And 2 have been arrested over fatal stabbing of Harry Pittman. Now, the story says 2 teenage boys have been arrested on suspicion of murder following the fatal stabbing of Harry Pittman. A 16-year-old and a 17-year-old handed themselves in after the Met released images of people it wanted to speak to. Harry, 16, from Haringey, was attacked after getting involved in a fight in Primrose Hill as crowds gathered to watch New Year's Eve fireworks. Detective Chief Inspector Jeff Grogan said, "This is clearly a significant development and we are keeping the family informed." The 2 boys remain in custody, the force added. 3 other teenage boys, aged 15, 16 and 18, arrested in connection with the murder have been released on police bail while inquiries continue. Harry was fatally stabbed shortly before 23:40 GMT on 31st of December after getting involved in a fight with another male, the Met Police have said. He had been with a group of friends on New Year's Eve near the viewing platform on Primrose Hill toward the fireworks. Now, Taylor Pittman, Harry's older sister, said to the Mail the family was devastated by his death. DCI Grogan added, "Our inquiries so far have established that there was no racial or gang element to this incident. It appears to have been a spontaneous fight between 2 people who didn't know each other that quickly escalated to extreme violence. Despite having made arrests, I am still very keen to hear from anyone who has footage or information that could assist our investigation," the police has said. Okay. It is coming away from Star Radio UK at 5 minutes past the top of the hour, the time. A soldier who shot child killed himself waiting for therapy. A soldier who mistakenly shot a child while on duty had waited 5 years for therapy when he took his own life, his wife has said. Now, George Dupreez, who served as a private in Afghanistan, developed post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, after the incident in 2011. His wife, Catriona, said he did not know he was firing at the child at the time. CWM Tough Mognan Health Board said it was committed to helping veterans with mental health issues. Meanwhile, the Army said service personnel health was taken extremely seriously, but added it will not comment on specific individuals. Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, patients' lives are being put at risk because it is too easy to buy prescription-only medicines from online pharmacies. Leading pharmacists have said. Information coming through said 20 online pharmacies selling restricted drugs without checks such as GP approval. In total, we bought over 1,600 various prescription-only pills by entering false information without challenge. The regulator, the General Pharmaceutical Council, says extra checks are needed when selling some drugs online. Now, the current guidance basically tells pharmacies to be robust, but do that in your own way. We know that under this current system, patients have died, she says. Now, many people chose to use online pharmacies for convenience. These businesses can sign off prescription-only drugs if they employ a qualified pharmacist prescriber. The parents of a woman who died in 2020 have after accidentally overdosing on medicines she bought online are among those calling for stricter rules. But the question or the statement is, now even if it was prescribed to her and she overdoses on it, I mean, you cannot do much about it. What do you think? Okay. It's all coming away from Star Radio, okay? In other parts of the world as well, Epstein's story is not going down quietly. It still is raising its ugly head and affecting people that he was involved in. A second batch of court papers linked to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein show how dozens of girls were recruited at his beachfront mansion. A Florida detective says in testimony that 30 women had spoken to him about performing massage and work there. Some were paid to bring their friends. The court filing have been made public under order by judge. They are part of a lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's imprisoned former girlfriend. She was jailed in 2022 for trafficking girls for Epstein, and much of the material in this batch of the 900 pages unsealed on Wednesday had already come to light during her trial. In 2016, the physician Joseph Ricari, a police detective in Palm Beach, Florida, said that approximately 30 women had spoken to him about performing massage and work at Epstein's home in the beachfront community. He said Maxwell was involved in recruiting the girls. Mr. Ricari testified that only 2 of the girls had any massage experience, and the majority of them were under age of 18. When asked how Epstein was able to gain access to so many underage girls, the detective said each of the victims that went to their home were asked to bring their friends to their home. So if you're in a child, daughter, as I said, let me put it, yes, I decide I'm going somewhere. Would you just say, okay, just go? What time they want to come? Yeah, you can come back at that time. So is it failure on parents as well? Or as we always say, well, it is the right of the child and it's 18 and can do, but this one they say under 18 they can do whatever they want. Well, Jeffrey Epstein and his empire were wrong in whatever thing that they did. However, what about the parents? Well, it is all coming away from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And let's move on to some other stories making the round. North Korea has fired more than 200 rounds of artillery shells off its west coast towards the South Yeonpyeong Island, Seoul military has said. Now, South Korea ordered civilians to seek shelter on the island before holding live fire drills of its own. The South called it a provocative act, but the North denied the island were in danger from its firing drills. In 2010, North Korea artillery fired scores of times on Yeonpyeong Island, killing 4 people. The artillery shells fired on Friday between 09 hours to 11 hours local time to 00 to 02 hours GMT did not enter South Korean territory as they all landed in the buffer zone between the two countries. Now, South Korea Joint Chief of Staff said the incident caused no damage to our people or military, but added that the act threatens peace on the Korean peninsula and raises tension. The shelling follows warning from Pyongyang that it was building up its military arsenal in preparation for what that could break out at any time on the peninsula. Interesting. Listeners, Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 4 patients have been killed through a hospital fire. Now, 4 people have died in the fire at a hospital near Hamburg in northern Germany. Now, the fire reportedly broke out around 22 hours, that 21:45 GMT on Thursday on the 3rd floor of the Eloise Clinic in Lausanne. Now, around 20 people were said to be injured, and police said that the number of dead could rise given the seriousness of some injuries. Authorities are investigating the cause of the blaze. 140 firefighters and rescue workers, including some from neighboring districts, fought to contain the fire. People were rescued from the clinic, some using ladders, according to a report. Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, moving on to the African continent now. A Paralympian Oscar Pistorius has been freed on parole from a South African jail nearly 11 years after murdering his girlfriend, River Steenkamp. Officials confirmed Pistorius was at home on Friday morning, having served half of his more than 13-year sentence. Now, Ms. Steenkamp's mother said she accepted the decision to release the former athlete, but added her family was the one serving a life sentence. Now, Pistorius, now 37, shot Ms. Steenkamp multiple times in 2013 through a door. The double amputee later claimed he had mistaken her for a burglar. Now, Pistorius was eventually convicted of murder in 2015 after an appeal court overturned an earlier verdict of culpable homicide. Now, under South Africa's law, all offenders are entitled to be considered for parole, meaning early release under certain conditions once they have served half of their total sentence, which for Pistorius was finally set at 13 years and 5 months. Until his sentence expires in 2029, he will live under strict rules, confining him to the home for certain hours of the day, as well as banning him from drinking alcohol. He is also not permitted to speak to the media. In addition, Pistorius will be required to have the therapy to help deal with his issues around gender-based violence and anger. He is believed to have gone to live at the home of his uncle Arnold Pistorius in an upmarket suburb of the capital, Pretoria. Now, while in prison, Pistorius drove a tractor in the grounds, worked in the library, and cleaned inmate cells, according to legal documents cited by South Africa's journalist Karen Morgan. Now, social workers and psychologists also wrote positive reports about him. He said to a news media house. Now, June Steenkamp said in a statement that the family had always known that parole is part of South Africa's legal system and had always said that the law must take its course. Mrs. Steenkamp said she welcomed the condition imposed by the parole board, which affirmed Barry and belief in South Africa's justice system, referring to her late husband. But she asked, has there been justice for River? Has Oscar served enough time? There can never be justice if your loved one is never coming back, and no amount of time served will bring River back. We who remain behind are the ones serving a life sentence. She added, my only desire is that I will be allowed to live my last years in peace, with my focus remaining on the Rebecca Steenkamp Foundation to continue River's legacy. Listeners, it is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Still on the African front. Now, India had deployed its navy to aid the crew of a ship that was hijacked off Somalia's coast. The vessel has 15 Indian crew members on board. Indian media reports have said the crew sent a distress call to UK Marine Agency saying that 5 to 6 unauthorized armed persons had boarded the ship east of the Somali port town of Eel on Thursday evening. A patrol aircraft has established contact with the vessel, ascertaining the safety of the crew. The guided missile destroyer INS Chennai is closing in on the vessel to render assistance while a naval aircraft is monitoring the ship, the Navy added. The ship, which bears the Liberian flag, was en route to Bahrain before the hijacking. The crew had earlier told the United Kingdom Marine Trade Operation Agency they were hiding in the vessel citadel, a secure compartment within a ship used for protection during emergencies or potential threats such as piracy. Now, pirate attacks often launch from Eel. Here are huge problems for international shipping from 2008 to 2011, prompting countries from around the world to send warships to patrol the area. But how come they managed to outwit them? If you have watched freeing Captain what? Okay, if you know it, let me hear you. All right, and it's Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Still on the African front. Now, in Senegal, Sonko had in the past week or so requested to put his name on the voters' register or be allowed to run for the election this year. But Senegal Supreme Court on Friday rejected opposition leader Ousmane Sonko's appeal against a libel conviction, potentially ending his hopes of competing in next month's presidential election. The 49-year-old has been battling a series of court cases since 2021, though he had denied all wrongdoing. Sonko's appeal focused on his May conviction for libel, which resulted in a 6-month suspended sentence and ruled him out of running in the presidential election. Senegal's, it goes on further to say, the opposition leader has been seen as a strong potential challenger in the race to succeed President Macky Sall after coming third in 2019 election. His arrests over the past 2 years have led to several violent protests in Senegal, one of the continent's most stable democracies. In December, a court in the southern city of Ziguinchor ordered Sonko's reinstatement on the electoral roll, a move that was seen as potentially allowing him to run in the election. Friday's rejection is a major setback, but his lawyers say Sonko will continue to fight the ruling. But is it not too little too late? What more can he do when it comes to that ruling? It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, in Sudan as well, Sudanese paramilitary leader General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo said on Thursday he was committed to a ceasefire to end the devastating war that has wrecked his country, even as fighting continues and there has been no progress on proposed peace talks between Dagalo and Sudan's military chief, General Abdel Fattah Barrett. Now, Dagalo, leader of the Rapid Support Forces, said in a statement following a meeting in Pretoria with South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa that he had briefed Ramaphosa on the considerable efforts taken to end this war. I emphasized our unwavering commitment to cease hostilities, Dagalo said, although he didn't say if or when he would meet with Barrett. The warring generals agreed last month to a face-to-face meeting and to start talks over a possible ceasefire, according to the East African Regional Bloc, IGAD. No date or location for the talks have been announced. During Thursday's meeting with Dagalo, Ramaphosa said he had hoped there would be an imminent face-to-face dialogue between Dagalo and Bahrain and called for an immediate ceasefire. Ramaphosa's spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya, has said. This is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now let's move on straight to Ghana. A security analyst, Dr. Adam Bonner, has advised the government to resource the Ghana Police Service in order to handle the 2024 elections without falling on other security agencies for help. Now, this comes on the back of Ghana's presidency rejecting allegations in the public domain of politically motivated changes in the Ghana Armed Forces. In a statement signed by the communication director of the press at the presidency, Eugene Ahin stated that the publication alleges that a meeting was held at the presidency on Tuesday, 2nd of January 2024, to discuss the so-called politically motivated changes in the Ghana Armed Forces. According to him, the meeting held with the heads of security agencies at the Jubilee House on the 2nd of January 2024 is an annual feature on the president's calendar at the beginning of the new year. Now, speaking this morning, Dr. Bona stated that there is some level of tension in the system already with regards to the 2024 elections. Therefore, a well-resourced police service will help. Now, Jubilee House, if you ask me, I think that they will have to help the police, give them resources, make sure that they have adequate resources and recruit more into the service, because the more police officers, the less we will want the military and other security agencies to support the elections. Now, we are going into 2024 elections. There will be no chaos. Whoever wins, we swear you in, and you know. The MPP says they will break the 8. NDC says those who put you into suffering must go, Dr. Bona stated. He continued. So we are watching. Some of us will not leave the space. We are going to be here to make sure that the 2024 around this time today, the 5th, we will be preparing to swear in the incoming president by the 7th of January 2025, which I think we should all be concerned about. But do you think it's a right call? Do you think the right thing will be done? Do you think the MPP government will say, okay, let's resource the police so that they will be able to do their work very well? And what would that actually bring to them as a priority? This is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. The Honorable Evangelist Dr. Enoch Mensah, as is popularly known, was born on the 17th of May 1946 in Koforidua in the eastern region of Ghana, where his parents had sojourned for work into the royal clan of Clay Abodo in Pram Pram. His parents were Mr. Emmanuel Tay Mensah Senior, or Nietzsche Goldsmith of high repute, and Madam Elizabeth Nateko Nate, a draper, a blessed memory, both of from Afutu Wem and Ajoka Wem of Clay Abodo clan of Pram Pram in the Greater Accra region. Honorable Yiti Mensah had elementary education at Koforidua Methodist Primary School and later continued at the Akorabo Methodist Primary and Middle School near Suhum in the eastern region, where his parents had relocated and settled. In 1958, his parents moved to Ashama near Tema, where he continued his middle school education at the Akojo Middle School in Tema, Community 1, and completed in 1962 with a distinction in the middle school leaving certificate examination. He left Tema to live with his elder brother, the late S.N. Mensah, in Mamprobi, Dansuman, Accra, who was then working at Accra City Council, now Accra Metropolitan Assembly. In 1964, where he attended SNAPS College of Accountancy and Secretariatship at Asylum Down, Accra. Now, while at SNAPS College Accountancy, he excelled in his course of study and was adjudged the best student when he sat for the Royal Society of Arts examination and was consequently employed as a tutor in the college. He later established a School of Business and Management Studies at Mamprobi called Institute of Business Education, where he was the head. He held the Masters of Arts certificate in Theological Studies and Doctor of Ministry certificate from the Vision International University, Ramona, California, where he was the valedictorian at their graduation ceremony. He was a fellow of the good standing in the Institute of Financial Accountants, a member of National Assembly of Public Accountants USA, and a member of the Institute of Public Accounts, FIBA, in Australia. Now, while at Akojo Middle School, he played a key role in the school's football team, where his excellence in the game led him to be recruited to play for the now defunct Tema Hurricanes Football Club. He played alongside notable teammates as goalkeeper Peter Shalowa, Ofori Mambo, and Kim Pele of blessed memory. He also played alongside Reverend Osei Kofi and Papo Alote, Chubby Checker. Tema Hurricanes the name implied, was a terror to teams like Asante Kotoko, Accra, Hasselhoff during their stay in the Ghana Football League. He was later recruited to play for Araras and Hasselhoff, where he played alongside the likes of Sam Amatefiu, Ado Odamite, Tommy Vanderpool, Mohamed Polo, Anas Seidu, among others, between 1967 and 1976. And during the early hours of the late Tommy Thompson, as chairman of the Accra Hasselhoff, E.T. Mensah became a member of the Welfare Committee during their exploits in Africa Club competition. E.T.'s football skills during his school days caught the eyes of management of Lever Brothers Limited, now Unilever Ghana Limited, to employ him to play the company's team, and participated in Tema Interdepartmental Football League in the early 1960s. He traveled with the team to play matches in Nigeria and other neighboring countries. Honorable Dr. Evangelist E.T. Mensah worked in various capacities as public servant and finest politician, which have over the years endeared him to the hearts of many people, both within and outside Ghana. He started work as college tutor, headmaster, auditor, senior accountant, clerk, and accountant. He was a fellow of the American Biographical Institute, member of World Conference of Mayors, and member of the Ghana Institute of Management. E.T. Mensah and two other colleagues, namely Professor Bochwe and the late Abraham Dodu, a senior civil servant, signed the first policy document of the group, New Democratic Movement, NDM. This group worked assiduously to raise political consciousness of mainly workers across the country. It was no wonder many of the members joined the revolutionary wagon on the 31st of December, which he was instrumental in the 1981 coup d'etat led by late President Rawlings. Honorable E.T. Mensah, as politician, was the PNDC Metropolitan Secretary for Accra, that's Mayor of Accra, the capital city of Ghana, for 10 years. During the tenure of office, Mayor of Accra witnessed many development projects which were unprecedented in history of Ghana. He was the architect of how the city of Accra looks like today. In 1992, when the country was ushered into democratic governance, Honorable E.T. Mensah became the Deputy PNDC Secretary of Youth and Sports. By dint of hard work, dedication, and valor, he was promoted to the substantive Minister of Youth and Sport. He was the sports minister who turned sports around in Ghana. He introduced professional football and Premier League clubs were directed to register as corporate entities. He also introduced sports policy, player transfer and sponsorship programs. National youth policy was also rolled out in 1999. He was founding member of the National Youth Organizer and vice chairman of the National Democratic Congress there as well. Well. That is inevitable and a fact which all mortals must come to terms with. We therefore take consolation in the fact that you have led a fruitful and impactful life. What is left for you is a well-deserved rest in the bosom of our Lord Jesus Christ. May Mother Earth lie gently on your mortals remain till we meet again at the dawn of resurrection. E.T. Mensah, Mo. Okay? Yawodin, and those are some of the things that have been said. I think he's laid to rest today. So wherever you are, I want to say thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure coming your way. This is Starr Radio UK. I've been your captain, your compere, whatever you want to call it. And I've seen you through the program for today. with Mr. Olayomi Koiki, my colleague, and Mr. Francis Gaye, my able producer, who saw to everything. On that note, and as I did say, we didn't have our money man coming in, but don't you worry. Next week, I think he'll be coming in because I know that he will want to talk about self-assessment. But let me sign off with a song that I played before bring you the rest of the stories from Kofi Boham. Write the names of the talkatives. Take the positive ones. The ones that are negative, just chuck it in the bin, right? Okay. Until I come your way on Monday, it's with me, Archie. But remember, tomorrow dawn, we're going to be having, once again, the Power Hour from the Power Word International Ministries, headed by Reverend Michael Esiama. Have a blessed weekend, and see you all Monday. Bye-bye for now.
It's no secret.
This is Starr Radio UK.
People like to talk the things they know and the ones they don't.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.
Just to be known. So why are you wasting your time like this? Hearing those things that break your heart. Give no attention, give no thoughts. Cause people talk, but they'll never help you walk. So whenever they speak, look up and you will see a broken pencil and a sheet. And tell them, say, I'm writing names of talkatives. Yeah.
All of this noise you're making on me. Teacher will get you when he comes. I have a race.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
I'm writing names of talkatives.
I'm writing names of talkatives.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All of this noise you're making on me.
Teacher, get there when he comes.
Teacher will get you when he comes. I have a race.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
There are many voices in this life, and to be honest, many are not nice. So don't hear something and pick a knife, cause most of these things are nothing but lies. Teacher said be careful how you hear, cause there are talkatives here, they're everywhere. So silence the voices in your head and give no attention to your fears. I'm writing
names of talkatives. All of this noise you're making on me. Teacher will get you when he comes.
As for me,
I have a race.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
I'm writing names of talkatives.
I'm writing names of talkatives.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Teacher will get you